Bitcast. I'm here with Zach. What's going on, Zach?
Hey man, how you doing? I'm sorry you ain't feeling too good.
Yeah, such is life, but the show must go on. So what's been going on with you, man? What you been watching?
Man, I've been doing all kinds of stuff. What I've been watching. So I watched that movie we talked about. What was it? Saltburn. I felt like that was like a really well made M Night Shyamalan movie. um,
Oh man.
uh, it's kind of true. I watched some of the Frasier reboot show too, just
Oh
because
really?
I'm an old head and I like Frasier from way back when, and I don't know. It's just as you're already past the stage where I'm at right now, right? Where I'm just trying to get the rest of my shit together before my life changes forever. So I'm just at that point now. What about you?
Um. So I've been chilling. I got a question for you before we get into the salt burn of it all. Um. So I looked into it a little bit. Have you seen the new director for the upcoming Star Wars Ray movie?
What's her name? And yes, it's no. Are we thinking of the same person?
Um,
The one who was
the
recently announced, or no? The Ray movie. I do not know who is directing that. Who is directing the Ray movie?
all right, hold on. Let me make sure I get this name right.
You're not talking about Charmin Obey Chinoy, right?
Oh snap! You killed it. Yeah, that's her
Oh,
name.
her. She's the one who's doing the Ray movie. So that, yeah, her. I didn't know she was doing Ray. I thought she was doing something else. Well, it's going to be a feminine masterpiece. I'll say that.
Yes, indeed, indeed. It's like I said. You and I are not the demographic that Star Wars is aiming for anymore, or hasn't been aiming for the past decade. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
Because Force
probably
Awakens
longer,
came out
longer
in
than that. I mean,
2015.
the shows don't really aren't tailored to us, really, if you think about it, right? I mean,
Exactly.
none
Yeah.
of them. So it's
The
just,
the last. I mean, the sequel trilogy started in 2015. That's when it was released. So
mhm.
technically over 10 years because they had to. They made what's her name, Kathleen Kennedy, the in charge of it all before 2015. So it's been
Just
over
gagged me
10
just hearing
years.
that name. Oh,
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I mean it's interesting. She's mostly done documentaries. Like you said, they've been very like feminist driven.
yeah.
Um I think her only foray into fiction is a couple episodes on Miss Marvel. Um
Lovely.
but yeah, she's
This is what we get,
taking
huh? I
on.
guess this is what we deserve.
Have you seen her comments?
I've seen her comments. It's even worse.
Woo!
So I know this is what we get for when the people who are afraid to say something don't say something. And this is and we exactly reap what we sow. So now we
Well,
got some woman who is, very excited and says about time that we're having a woman's point of view in Star Wars, which okay, fine, whatever. But you're doing it with the worst possible character ever made.
but it's been pretty female driven for the past 10 years, let's be honest.
Yes.
And two things. It's well, I just had a brain fart. But you said oh yeah, so it's like you want to alienate over half the population. Who's going to come to these movies?
No, you're not
Let's
even. You see, the thing is, you're alienating half the population, but you're alienating a percentage of what demographics who actually watch the movies.
yes.
That's
And
the
when
more
that
important part.
demographic doesn't go to the movies, you
Oh yeah,
get
you're losing money.
you you get the Marvels. You get Indiana Jones 5,
I don't
like
know how many flops and how many mistakes that Disney has to make before they get it through their heads. Like Bob Iger just said, it was like literally a month ago about how he's tired of the flops, he's tired of losing money, he's tired of all this. I'm like, but why are you having people hire women like this? All you're doing is continuing down this path that no one cares about, including women. I can't really make this any more clear. I thought we were done with this, truly. Like, you've kind of, we've kind of, I thought we transitioned to a point where enough companies have lost money in pretty much every aspect of indie industry in terms of ESG, which is environmental social governance, which is like quote unquote a woke, stock portfolio that you're investing in versus like DEI stuff. People just don't want it. Now you're just going to put it in Star Wars, which is a very valuable IP, roughly $60 billion, and they're wondering why it's not grabbing the attention of people.
Yep.
And this is what you get. So, that's fine. I'll never watch Star Wars until they really fix this, and I need like a sincere apology, which
So,
includes Bob Iger getting launched.
so you made a good point. This is what happens when people who are afraid to say something don't say something. I'm gonna take it a step further. One, now those people are trying to say something, but the train's already left the station. It's too late. Way
Oh
too
yeah,
late.
yeah,
And
yeah.
two, those people were also silenced by the people who said, look, when I was growing up, and I'm not pointing fingers, but these people said, when I was growing up, we had one Star Wars movie come out like every 4 years, and then after the three were done, it was done. So just be happy with the fact that you're getting all of this content. It's like, so you want me to just be happy because you're feeding me crap? Like, no. Like, because this stuff is more common now, we have the right as fans, as a consumer, to sit there and say, "Hey, this is bad. Stop it. Give us what we want. Hell, even give us what we need because we don't need this. Give us something better than this, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, I'm
Yeah.
getting tired of hearing those people talk. Like, oh, well, look how spoiled you are. You should just be happy that you know you get Star Wars. It's like, yo, come on, bro.
The internet's a cesspit of so many bad takes and people who just say something because they know there's no recourse of them getting them slapped in the face, so they just say whatever. Uh, no, but in all honesty, though, you would think after a certain point, there's just you're being registered. We can no longer blame Chapek for the
No.
course that Disney's at because you look at a 6 year, 7, 8 year trend, it's been down as a whole, and we're talking about share price, right?
Yep.
A lot of other companies that are similar have increased, and you look at the differences. Like we thought Netflix was dead, was left for
Yes.
dead, and
Yes.
and Spotify, and they've done nothing but solidify themselves. Like, look, we're not going to be bullied around by these group of people that just aren't going to ingest and pay for our content anyway.
Thank you. Thank you. So true. So true. Because they don't show up when this content's made.
No, they're just like, oh, great, look, it's just one more thing, and it's look, we've talked about this a million times. You get the blue hair, big rim glass, liberal whoever in some room. It's just whatever. It is what it is. And look, conservatives aren't much better on the right in terms of canceling stuff either. And it's just this whole foray of what's wrong with just good stuff? What's wrong with good original? We want to see lightsabers. We want to see blasters. We want to see people getting killed and explosions in space with a somewhat interesting story with a weird, awkward romance scene. That's it. That's what Star Wars is. And yeah, we're just not getting any of that. It's just turned into a box checking,
Basically, what
thing now.
he's saying, folks, is we just want good stories, whether it's Star Wars or whether it's another franchise, whether it's another movie. Back when movies didn't have a left or a right agenda, they were just trying to tell a story. They were apolitical, if you want to say that. You know, they weren't concerned with trying to please everybody. They were just telling the hero's story or the the group of ragtag friends who get together and take down the bad guy. Like let's get back to that. Let's get back to simple storytelling. Keep it simple, stupid. Come on. What are you guys doing? Because I'll tell you one thing, no one wanted this Ray movie, and they're still moving forward with it. You notice every project that was announced like a couple years ago has been canceled, except this Ray movie. So you can't tell me that there isn't an agenda. Let's be honest. All right, she's like one of the least likable characters in the Star Wars universe, but yet they're moving on with this one. I'm
Could
just
have
saying.
Gina Carano in something, I mean,
Gina Carano, they fired her, but she was the most. She was way more popular than Ray. Let's be
oh,
honest. Her
yes.
character was, first of all, her character was badass as hell.
And she's a great person, individual. Like, I've met her. She's fantastic, right? So it's
Mm.
what's and you see Daisy Ridley, who has as much animation on her face as a 2x4. So, and I'm
Oh,
I'm stammering because I can't think of enough superlatives in any aspect for me to like describe like how awful she is as an actress. But it is what it is. No, it's like, look, I've
oh
given her a
man.
chance. It's like, look, this is where we're going. Hey, look, good for you. You're going to make money from Star Wars. I'd do the same thing. If I had no talent and someone's just sticking me up because I fit some kind of like,
Checkbox
pity
or
hire, I'm all for it. It's
yeah,
capitalism.
yeah, man, yeah. But
But
yeah,
don't
it's
expect me
sad.
to be ingesting any of this content.
No, no. It's like someone asked me today. It was like, "Yo, did you check out Echo?" And I was like, "No." You know why? Because it's a Disney product. I'm I'm done with Disney, bro.
Oh
Like
man, even
I've
though the
been done.
premise is so appealing, but no, you're right. It's like
Another
you would
product no one
think.
asked for. No one asked for an Echo show. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
I like Vincent D'Onofrio, like he's great, right? But
well,
no,
yeah,
you're
well,
right.
give us a Daredevil show or
Or
a
Kingpin
Kingpin
show.
show.
I'm fine with that.
Yo, a Kingpin show would be fire. Would be fire, bro. Oh,
Like
damn.
Penguin show is going to be on, Max. Like that's great.
If there's a Penguin show coming out, why wouldn't they think that Marvel could have done a Kingpin show? He was arguably one of the best characters of the Netflix
I think they're
Marvel
afraid to
universe.
go. I feel like Marvel's still afraid to go to that bleeding edge of, hardcore, which is what it entails, right? Like what the Punisher entails, what Daredevil, and so far, besides Deadpool, and Deadpool wasn't even part of the Disney universe until they were, purchased, they haven't made a cutting edge, like believable product yet. They
And
just
that's the
haven't.
thing. Deadpool 3, we haven't seen it yet, so we don't know what it's going to be like. So you might be right on that, bro. We just don't know. But
I'm afraid. I'm afraid for Deadpool's like franchise because it did such a good
yes.
job
Yes.
of being its own thing while making a funny stance of what it's not. Like that's great. I just feel like now because it's part of this whole like grand universe, which is fantastic, and they spent so much money and time and resources to build this universe, and now it's just crumbling quicker than a blink of an eye. It's just, I mean, for what? Why spend all that hard work and time just to ruin it based on this, on something 5-10 years from now is not going to even be a thing? Let's be real, it's not.
And let's be honest, folks. Let's break it down. We're not tired of comic book movies. People are like, oh, is this superhero fatigue? No, we're tired of bad content. We're tired of bad writing, bad characters, bad everything. We're tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just give us good movies. Stop the BS. Stop putting out stuff for the sake of putting something out and be like, oh, they're going to see it because it's part of our universe. Stop. Clearly, we're not doing that anymore.
I think
Same
a
thing
lot
with
of
Echo.
companies have
Come on.
learned their lesson that their brand's no longer, it's
Yeah.
not the impenetrable force that it was.
Yes. The days where a Marvel movie came out and we all said we have to watch it because it's Marvel are over. They've been
Oh yeah, it's
over.
way over because those characters are no longer part of the the main narrative anymore.
And you haven't done a good job of introducing the new characters. The only good new character introduction has been Shang-Chi for me. You know, Miss Marvel was pretty good, but everybody else was just hamstrung. Hamstrung. It's come on, man. You got to do better. I mean, you put a whole blockbuster together called The Marvels with one of the most disliked Marvel characters of all time, Captain Marvel. B,
Yeah.
with Spectrum, who was introduced in WandaVision to the point that no one knew her superhero name, and they were just like, let's just put her out there. And
You know
C,
what? I
Miss
completely
Marvel had the
forgot
lowest
because
viewership.
did you see it?
No,
I didn't see
no.
it, but I was wondering who that person was, and then you just said, I'm like, okay. But there's no.
That's
That
the
just
point.
goes to show, like, they don't even care. It's like, oh well, we just assume that you've seen this, and there's no need to reintroduce anyone.
And the movie was what, an hour and a half, so there was clearly not enough time to introduce the three of them if you didn't know who any of them were. So I'm like, come on, man. And no one cares about Captain Marvel, let's be honest. I get it, Captain Marvel was $1 billion movie, but it came out at a time when people were craving female superheroes, but they dropped the ball with the character. Let's be honest. When people went to see that movie, people showed up to see the movie. But afterwards, people didn't repeat because it was like, come on, man. This chick is like a plank of wood. Like she's boring. And she didn't get better over time. She did
How
not.
is Spider-Man untouched from this?
Good writing. Every single one of those
Novel idea.
Sony/Marvel Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland had good writing and likable characters that did not try to push an agenda. They were just trying to tell the Peter Parker story. And it was great. Even though his character was part of the bigger universe, it was always telling a Peter Parker story. I never felt like the Spider-Man Marvel movies were trying to set up something else. They were just like, hey, you're a friendly neighborhood. And I'm kind of glad that at the end of the third one, it was like he's going to stay as the friendly neighborhood Spider Man. I like
Yeah, because Peter Parker is
hero like
erased
that.
now. It's Spider-Man who.
Yes. Yeah, so I'm happy about that. Like Spider Man and Shang-Chi, those are the only movies that come to my mind that were successful after Endgame. Everything else
You didn't
was
think
kind of
Guardians
like,
3?
oh, Guardians 3, true. Guardians 3, Wakanda Forever was pretty good too,
It was
especially
okay. It, I,
with
I
what they
think
were working with.
it didn't live up to the first one,
Nah, not by a long shot. It
and
needed
I
more
think it's
time to cook. They just pushed it out, you know.
but you can't replace someone like Chadwick Boseman anyway, right? So that's the main
Nah,
issue. Is like if he was in there, I'm sure that wouldn't have been a problem because they had to really redo everything that was planned for
everything.
it.
They took so long to figure out who would like be the next Black Panther that
But
they
there's
just
like
had
five
to
different
write.
iterations in the comics. They could have picked anyone,
Yeah, I don't know. I
and
don't know.
any
It
of it
was.
would have made sense, right?
It would have. It could have. I don't know, man. It was just. I feel like they didn't give it enough time. They should have put it off for even more. And I don't know. It's Shuri in the comics is Black Panther plenty of times, which makes sense because she's different in the comics. She's like a warrior in the comics. Whereas this Shuri, she's like 90 pounds soaking wet. I get it. She gets super strength. But like, it's like, come
And
on.
but it's a temporary thing. She's not the leader for very long before she passes it off too.
Oh
So
yeah,
keep
I
that in
think
mind.
someone mentioned. I gotta rewatch the movie. Well, because they said something like she passed it off. I know she passed off the mantle of queen or ruler to M'Baku, but I think she passed off the Black Panther
And
mantle too.
and what's
I
his
think
name?
she left it
Warmonger
open.
or whatever his name is.
Oh, Killmonger.
Killmonger, right? Yeah, he gets it
What?
too.
Yeah, yeah. In the comics, he gets it too. Like everybody gets it. There's even a cop in New York. I forget his name. A black guy who becomes temporary Black Panther
I assume
in the
he's
city.
black. Having a white Black Panther would be weird.
True. Well, there is the what's his
Defeats
name?
the
The White
purpose of
Wolf.
why Black Panther was written to begin with.
Sure.
Let's be real.
There is the White Wolf though, but
That is true. Yeah.
they tried they made Bucky White Wolf in the movies, but there's a separate guy in the comics who's raised in Wakanda who's white who becomes the White Wolf. But yeah, there is the White Wolf, man, which is a
So
badass character too.
so another Spider-Man movie comes out, I'm assuming you would see that, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
nothing preventing you from seeing that.
yeah, I'll see that.
What
But
about
anything else?
what about this Mandalorian movie? Did you hear about this?
For those who can't see us, I just roll my eyes. Come on, man. Like I don't. After that last season, you think I'm going to be excited about a Mandalorian movie? Oh,
No.
oh, are you going to do the bait and switch? Like, oh, it's not really, Din Djarin because the Mandalorian can be anybody. Ooh, it's like, come on.
Do you
Stop.
think we had Pedro Pascal fatigue?
Yes, I do. I just saw an article, well, the headline of an article that said Pedro Pascal has cleared his schedule for Fantastic Four. I'm like, really? Like, do you guys think he's the only actor around? You think there's no other actors? You know who would have been a good Fantastic Four? Mr.
Reed
Fantastic, Matt
Richards.
Bomber, Reed Richards. Yeah,
Perfect.
Matt Bomber. He looks exactly like him. He looks like Superman too. Like Matt Bomber, he has like a action
He's a good
figure
actor.
face, and he's a good actor. But he doesn't seem like he want to do that kind of stuff.
You know who would have been good too? Hayden, what's his name from Succession, who played Tom, and he played Mr. Darcy in Pride and Prejudice. It's gonna drive me nuts. Here, let me look real fast.
Two things I have not seen.
You have Succession's great, and I'm glad it ended the way it did, um, because like shows, they just don't know when to end, and it was just
Yes.
perfectly ended at the right time. Hold on,
Yeah, man.
Matthew McFadden, that's his name.
Oh, Matthew McFadden. Oh yeah. I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, he can play him.
Yeah, he could play him. I'm just tired of Pedro Pascal and his pretentiousness. But whatever, man. Whatever. But yeah, like I don't know, man. Marvel, come on, get your act together, man.
I think it's just Disney as a whole. Like
Yeah, it's Disney.
it's
Disney.
it's all of the products, and then we grew up with it, right? And I think we're the generation that's probably the most loyal to the brand out of anyone, and that loyalty is fleeting because you even see like as a whole, it's not just the media in terms of like movies and games and all that stuff that they're losing money. It's in all
It's
aspects.
everything.
You know,
Disney's market. What's it called? It's what's that term called? Has gone down. Their market share value or something
oh
like
yeah,
that.
their stock price is just awful. I mean, here, I'll give you I'll give you a good example right now. Give me 1 second. All right, let's type in Disney.
Yeah, let's check that out.
Um,
Because around Endgame, before that came out, they were on cloud nine.
all
They
right,
were
so Disney.
top.
Let's look at 5 years. Okay. So right now they're at $90 a share. 5 years ago they were at 111. All right, their high, which was 2021, was 190.
Oof. Oof. They've gone down 100 since then.
That's a lot.
And I feel like it's only going to go lower and lower and lower. After all these announcements that's been coming out, like the Mandalorian movie. Oh, did you see that Ahsoka season 2 was announced?
No.
Why? Why? Who cares? Like, who
I'm
liked this
looking
stuff?
at it right now.
It's ridiculous, man.
Star Wars roadmap. I think they need to have like a real concise roadmap, and there isn't any. They just kind of like release it whenever, and it's not.
Which is why the timeline is so messed up. Which is why
Oh yeah,
some
dude.
characters
Because there's
are
no continuity. It's like you need to
no.
start planning this like ahead of time, and you see there's glaring holes.
Yes, huge plot holes, huge, where some characters shouldn't be there, but they should, or they should be older, or they should be younger at some places. So I'm like, at this point, nothing matters. It doesn't matter. And then some people online are like, "Well, I'm speculating because this planet is in this solar system that they age slower." And stop, just stop, like, stop, stop, stop trying to justify their bullcrap, man, because it's ridiculous. All
Do
right.
you think? Do you think George Lucas is missed?
Uh, yeah, yeah. Like, oh my
That's saying a
gosh.
lot.
Yes, that is saying a lot. It's like, it's like how the political climate has gotten so bad that people actually miss George W. Bush. Because I remember when he was leaving office, people were booing him. Now people are like, "Yo, bring him back! Yo, bring him back!" It's like things are so bad at Star Wars that George Lucas, people are asking George Lucas to buy it back.
I mean, he's got the money.
You think he wants to deal? He George Lucas could barely deal with the backlash before there was social media. Back when he was doing
Yeah,
the
dude.
prequels,
I mean, he's older now. He's super rich. Like, and he's a very spiritual, religious guy, and I think he just wants to stay like away from all of this.
yeah, yeah.
I don't blame him
He's too
if
old.
he
Like
doesn't.
he's retired. I'm not trying to clown him, but he's like he's too old. He just wants to relax. You know, like he just wants to chill. The whole reason he sold it was just to relax and chill. Well, one of the reasons, you know, but come on, man. Like this is ridiculous. Why um, why is Kathleen Kennedy still in charge of Lucasfilm?
She's got a nudie picture of someone blackmail doing an Epstein something. No, actually, here's the thing. No, because she has a great track record, but last 7, 8 years, she has not had a good track record. And it's all about in business, what have you done for me lately, not what have you done as a whole. And what you have done for me lately has been a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, the past 10 years have been god awful with her in charge. Let's be honest. God awful. The Force Awakens, which came out in 2015, was decent, but everything after that has just been a train fire. Except for Andor and Rogue One, I don't know of any good things
Yeah,
that
but
come
here's the
out.
thing. But we already know why Rogue One and Andor. There's a reason.
Because those are insular things.
Yeah, absolutely. They're their own things.
Yes. Yes.
That's why they're their own things, and I think that's a testament to if you let the creatives do their own thing, it works.
Yeah. 100%.
But
All right.
you know, and they check every box. Like how many, you know what I mean? Like that whole cast was minorities in Rogue One. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Except for
Yeah.
Felicity Jones. I mean, everyone else, it's like, and that's fine, right? Like,
But it
I
didn't
don't have
feel
an issue with.
forced. You know what I'm
It
saying?
wasn't forced. That's the perfect part. They had good actors in every part. Like, I love Diego
Yeah.
Luna, and it's like there's nothing wrong with that, you know?
It didn't feel like they cast those parts based on whoever had the best like viewership on Instagram or Facebook. Like it felt
Yeah,
like they
yeah,
were
yeah.
good actors and it felt organic. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know, man. I don't want to harp on it too long. We should get into the nitty and gritty of the WTF movie of Saltburn.
So, all right, it's either yes or no. What do you think? Is it a good movie?
He says either yes or no. Oh,
See,
it's
I feel the
interesting.
same way. Because I asked Heather yesterday, like, hey, is this a good movie? And because I told her, it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's
I know. Yeah, it's
I'm like, what was
interesting.
it trying to do? You know, like there was a lot of different things, and because I go in not knowing a dang thing about this movie, you know,
Right,
and
same.
it's not like the marketing really shows you anything. There isn't anything. Like it starts out, you know, this guy is at Oxford, and you know
Hmm.
becomes friendly, trying to be friends, and he's almost obsessed with. Well, he isn't. He is obsessed with this guy, and This guy's not really. He takes him under his wing, type of
Right.
thing, and
Right.
okay, they're gonna have a thing, and ends up being something completely different. He's like, let me
Yeah.
find a way to like take all the money from someone in their family.
Oh my gosh. And it wasn't even about the money in the end. Spoiler alert, people who haven't seen it. It wasn't even about the money. It was just because he hated them. He hated everything about them, what they represented. He just hated them.
But he loved them
Yeah, it was. It was
because he
like,
drank his bathwater with the, with.
yeah, like,
There's
uh,
two parts where I had to walk away. When he is in that outside with the girl, Venetia or whatever, and she's like,
yeah,
"Oh, I'm on my
Benicia.
time of the month," and he starts playing with her while she has her period. I'm like, why?
Oh,
Why does this have to be a thing? I'm like,
oh.
I immediately stood up. I'm like, listen, I've seen enough inside out bodies in my life. I've seen mangled, maimed, all of that, but that was disgusting.
Hold
It
up.
was just-
Provide some context to the people who don't know you, like I do. Why you've seen that?
oh, I've
Just
seen
don't
lots
say.
of dead bodies because, military and all that, right? But
Right, military.
that was
All right.
weird. Like I was like, is this supposed to turn anyone on? Like, is this like a sexual psycho thriller? Like, I knew right away there was something kind of off with this dude when he was invited to the house. I'm like, okay. And I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like he was kind of pushing it in some subtle way, right?
Well, you could see it because like his personality would just switch depending on who he talked to, right? Like it would just be totally different. Like the main guy, Felix, played by Jacob Elordi, like
He did a good
whenever he
job. What
would
did you
talk,
think?
yeah, he was good. He was good. Whenever he would talk, whenever Oliver would talk to Felix, you could see that Felix had this hold on Oliver. Like Oliver would like crumble into himself. Like he was clearly in love with Felix, and Oliver would just crumble into himself. Like, hi Felix, and then like everybody else, after he initially met them, that's when you saw him like, oh, I'm gonna act this way with this person. I'm gonna act this way. I'm gonna play them this way. And it's like, oh, this dude is clearly got an agenda, man. Like he's clearly on some other stuff, man. Because I don't know, bro. Like you were
So
saying,
I was looking at the cast,
mm-hmm.
and it's really a bunch of nobodies for the most part, which is fine.
It's more like fresh faces, you know.
Yeah. I I just I feel like it was a mixture between Gossip Girl.
And
It's like a cheesy CW like rom thing.
like Vampire Diaries and Gossip Girl or something.
I like Vampire Diaries though, but it
I've
worked
never
out.
seen it,
But
but
it's like
not
a
my kind of thing.
CW type of thing with like overt nasty sexual stuff. Like this dude drinks this guy's bathwater.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And that's not even the
Okay, so
worst
anyway,
part.
let's break it down. Why was this movie made, and what was the purpose of it, and what was it supposed to establish, and like, how are you supposed to take this away at the end? Like, what's the point? Like, a movie is supposed to give you some kind of feeling. Like, was being utterly disgusted one of the feelings? Like, I don't understand.
So it's funny that you asked that because when I was telling my coworkers yesterday that I seen this, and it was like, so it was a good movie, and I was like, and I had to think to myself, so what was the purpose? Like, what story was it trying to say? I was like, I don't know, like because, like for one thing, the director Emerald Fennell, actress, writer, and producer and director. Funny thing is, the first thing that pops off in trivia when it comes to her in IMDb says when she was 7, she told her parents when she grew up she wanted to write stories about murder and to live in America. Right there lets you know there's just something a little off about
I
about.
mean,
She
there's nothing
wrote it.
wrong with living in America, but like 7, I'm going to start writing about murder. Like, why?
Yeah. So I'm like, what did your parents expose you to at such a young age? Like, uh, but she wrote and directed this, and I'm like, was the purpose of this to be like shocking, shock value? Because
Yeah.
you know me, I'm not the type of guy who likes that kind of stuff. Like, I want a story. Don't just give me
There was
something
a
like, blah,
story.
look at this, blah.
I mean, what was the story? The thing is, the plot was ever evolving. You know, like the plot wasn't linear from start to finish. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there wasn't like, okay, you can kind of see where this is going, that type of thing. Like, it was just a. You know how, like, in
Bro,
certain movies, you're like stories, you're like, okay, I got to this, like, goalpost. Now I'm going to go set the next one. Like, it's kind of broken up. There's no real concise way to do that in this.
nah. I mean, when I was watching this movie, I thought, because I missed the card where it said right director, I thought like Sam Levinson did this, the guy who did Euphoria and The Idol. Like, this is his type of stuff, like shock jock, people doing
Right.
stuff on screen that's like wild. Like, I'll just say there's a mud loving scene in this. By the way, which was not in the script, Zach.
Who thought of
Barry
that?
Keegan, Barry Keegan basically told Emerald Fennel, yo, I need a close set. Just just put me in the room, put me on set with nobody else and let me cook. And that's what he came up with. That's what he did.
Okay, guys,
Zach?
so disclaimer. I Someone dies and he has sex with the grave.
In the rain. Mud loving.
And crying.
So, bro, like, you know
I don't
how I
know how
feel
to
about
take that.
method
What
acting.
are we supposed to take from that? What do we? What does this signify? Like, what is? Why is he doing this? Is this
So I
closure?
read, I read that this is supposed to represent how he killed him. Spoiler alert! But he's very sad that he did it, even though he's not regretting what he did because he really did love this guy. And I'm like, okay. By the way, you know your girl Margot Robbie produced this movie, right? Executive produced it.
All right. So she's sick like this. All right. All right. Cool. I got some respect for her now. That's cool.
And I'm like,
No, she probably has no way of like what the movie was. You know.
she was on set, bro. I read about
Oh,
it.
really? Okay.
Not during that scene, but she visited the set from time to time. So she knew. Come on, you can't produce. You could produce something, not know about it, but she read the script. She knew when she was producing. But you know how I feel about method acting, right?
Yes.
So
It's not
Barry
acting.
Keegan, thank you. Barry Keegan is a well-known method actor, and I have to ask you, Zach, what is with what is the obsession with ever since Heath Ledger has died? What is the obsession with casting method actors as the Joker?
I think
Barry
it's
Keegan.
because they just want to have the character on screen, and I think like so. Here's the thing, right? Like Jack Nicholson stated this long time ago about playing the Joker. Like you got to be really careful with this part, and otherwise it will like consume you. And not many people have the ability to have that switch where they can be whatever character they are, and it's not part of them. They don't have to be that character. But I think there's some kind of mental illness for people who have that switch. You get what I'm saying? People who have the ability to flip it like that and be something else entirely is almost sociopathic. And like you have to shut everything down. You can't have any kind of feelings about anything to be that. And people who method act, those are the people who are normal, but they just turn into that character and they kind of like, you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
You think they're normal?
Well, normal in the sense that they're not psychopaths. You know what I mean? Like they can
You
still
think
be
they're not
somewhat
psychopaths?
productive in life.
It's like, nah, let me stop. But bro, come on, man. At this point, my assumption, my prediction is that they're doing this because they don't want to do the work and looking for the actor that's good for the role. So hey, let's just get somebody who's wild and crazy. Let's get a method actor, Joaquin Phoenix, Jared Leto, Barry Keoghan, and put them in the role because we know they'll be crazy. As opposed to
Or Christian
as
Bale.
opposed
I
to
think Christian Bale's like the ultimate method actor.
Vincent D'Onofrio is a pretty pretty
He's on the
crazy.
spectrum, by the way.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Vincent D'Onofrio?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
Yeah, dude. Because when he did Law and Order, like he had overwhelming anxiety for being around like people and stuff. So he had a lot of things he had to overcome. Fantastic actor, very gifted, right? But there's a lot of there was tons of obstacles in his way to get where he's at.
So, as we're talking, I'm still trying to think of the purpose of this film.
There isn't
And
a purpose.
like Euphoria and The Idol, I feel like Hollywood just has a obsession um recently of seeing young people doing very controversial things. You know, everybody in this movie is supposed to be young. They're in their early late teens, early 20s, smoking, drinking, having sex, doing lines, stuff like that. You know, just like Euphoria, just like The Idol. You know, Hollywood has this obsession. Like, I mean, I'm not going to be in that guy and say this wasn't well done, but
It was. It was. But it's diminished by the fact of the insanity that didn't have to be in here. That's distracting. I mean, I said distracting twice. I know, but I don't know another word to put it. It's distracting.
yeah, yeah, it's very distracting. Like, if if you have a thin story and you're just using shock to propel it, what are you doing? It's the same. It's the same critique you and I had for Avatar 1 and Avatar 2. These thin stories, and you're hamstringing it together with spectacle. You know, these crazy CGI monsters. It's the same thing here. You have this thin line of a story. People are saying like sexy lines, and people are looking sexy, and they're doing crazy things with blood and da 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 and fluids and liquid and drugs. Yeah, it's like it's the reason why I didn't finish Euphoria. It's the reason why I didn't watch The Idol. Like, where's the story, man? Like, come on, man.
I mean, if
Come on.
this is what Gen Z does now, I'm like, dang, you guys are gonna die young. Tell you what.
Statistically, it's the opposite.
I know it is. They're
Statistically,
not doing any of this stuff.
no, they're not.
They're not like going out and socializing or anything. I'm like, yo,
Yeah, it's like statistically, it's so opposite. And yes, this movie takes place in 2006. But, you know, like Hollywood's obsessed with all these young people doing stuff and everything. But, like, yeah, like,
that's not people acting like people from 2006. We were
not that I
around.
know of, you know.
We were around in 2006 and we were close to that age. So it's like, come on.
Yes.
You know, it's not I wasn't thinking about doing this. Like, what in the world? You know.
Now, clearly, Oliver, the main guy, has mental health issues. Like, he lies and says that his parents does, and then it's revealed that they don't. So it's like, oh, you're the one with the mental health issues. And, like, you can kind of
I
see it
don't
on
think
his
he has
dad's
mental.
face.
No, like he did it purposefully. There's
Yeah,
a
but
difference.
clearly something's wrong with this guy.
Well, yeah, he's pathological. That's a whole different thing. But if you're manipulating people and you're doing it on purpose, like that's just maliciousness versus like mental health. I wouldn't construe construe the two on that. You know, like we got to make it very clear that there was a lot of ill intent, not because it was fueled by him having mental health issues, but for the fact that he wanted to cause harm and he was evil.
Mm,
Two
that's a good
different
point.
things.
That's a good point because you're talking about intent now. Like, what was his
Yes.
intent?
He was
Especially,
calculated from the start.
yes, because he was playing
Mental
it
health,
like you
people
said
who are
from the
crazy
start.
cannot think like that. They don't have that. They're not methodical. It's all over the place. If you're acting insane, you're not thinking about how you're doing one thing to another to get to the end goal. It doesn't work like that.
That's a good point because this dude was doing all this stuff like a chess match. Like he was planning stuff from the beginning. He knew how to act with people a certain way. His only real obstacle was what was his name? Farley, that guy, that the mixed race kid, Farley.
Yeah, he's from Gran
Because
Turismo, by the way. He was in Gran.
yeah, I knew he looked familiar, and he threw him off because he started acting a certain way to Farley, and then Farley didn't fall for it. I was, and he played him, so he was like, "All right, I gotta act different with this guy. I basically just gotta take him out the equation." So he tried to set him up. He showed back up again, but then he
Well,
was
he did
still
set him
able
up.
to. Yeah, he set him up, and but he still showed back up at the party. But then he found another way to get him out and everything. So like Farley was like that speed bump that just kept showing up, that just kept coming. Like, and even though Farley was right about Oliver, he was still a dick the whole time. He didn't like Oliver just because he thought Oliver was poor. That's the only reason.
Yeah, dude,
But
classism is cringy, but that's like the main thing in England. Like what how people perceive the issues with racism here, classism is the main thing there. Like they don't it's not about the color so much more than how poor or rich you are. And there's a huge discrepancy between the two cuz like look, that guy's house, his estate, like they're royal family. They're
right,
nobility.
yeah, and even like come on, Farley. Like he tried to say like, oh, it's about race. It's like, bro, they took you in when you were a kid and they're paying for every school that you drop out. Like he keeps dropping out of school, getting in trouble, but they keep paying for him, feeding. I'm like, come on, man,
It was a last
it's not
ditch
about
effort and he was like, "Nah, that's not it."
race. Yeah, yeah. He was like, come on, bro. Like either you chill out or you gotta get out of our house, and he had to get out the house. But yeah, he was the only. Farley was the only guy who was giving Oliver like the slip every time. But everybody else played right into Oliver's hands. Like he knew how to handle certain people. And I feel like he did what he did to Felix at the time because he knew Felix was going to tell everybody about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still, as we're talking, Zach, I'm still trying to figure out
Is this
what
a
was
good
the
movie or
purpose.
not?
What was the purpose? Like, would I recommend it? And someone asked me that yesterday and today, and to both of those people, I said it depends on if you're squeamish
I say
because
I recommend it because it's wildly different because it's going to make you think like, hey, was that enjoyable or not? It definitely leaves an imprint. You won't forget that movie. That's for
oh
sure.
yeah, oh yeah. Dude, like there's shots in the movie that I'm just like that just flash in my head, and I'm like, oh, like, ugh. it's it's
Is there
wild,
another
man.
movie that's like, I'm not saying it's like the same, but leaves a similar type of impression?
Not one. I don't really watch crazy movies like this, so not one that I can think of.
Maybe that's why
You
it
know,
wasn't marketed as a crazy movie.
yeah. Someone was telling me today that they movies like that turn them off for like the Hostel, Human Centipede stuff. I haven't seen. I don't watch those kind of movies
Oh,
like
dude, you haven't
Saw.
seen The Human Centipede? You know
No,
how
and I
hard
won't.
it is to find that here? Like, you can't buy it on any streaming.
Sean James Gunn wrote that. See
How
when
come you
when
haven't seen it?
people
It's so cheesy, dude. It's not even that
nah
bothersome.
it's disgusting. And like that's why when people was like, oh, can James Gunn really do be ahead of the DC universe? I'm like, yo,
This
you,
guy's done everything.
yes, this guy's done everything. You don't understand this guy's range. He's done Human Centipede all the way to Scooby Doo. Like, what are you talking about? And Guardians of the Galaxy. He wrote Scooby Doo 1 and 2. Like,
Dude, the Scooby Doo.
yeah, this dude's range is ridiculous, man.
Scooby Doo.
Ridiculous.
Went from Shaggy to butt to mouth on Human
Oh,
Centipede being sewed in. That's hilarious.
yeah, this dude's range is crazy. He did Brightburn and Guardians of the Galaxy, like two very different kind of superhero
Brightburn
movies.
was, eh,
It was alright. It was a low budget superhero movie.
eh.
I thought it was good. It gave you a different perspective on like Superman, you know. And there was a tease at the end that it would continue with the other superheroes, that they were all kind of psychotic or whatever. But yeah, I mean, the dude has crazy range. But yeah, a movie like this, I don't know. I feel like I feel like I'm being negative, but I feel like a movie like this is getting the critic praise that it is because it's just so shocking. You know,
It's its own thing. It's so different. Like because it's different and it's original, which is rare. Let's be real, it is original.
true, true. You gotta
Um,
respect it because of that.
the thought process involved to even how do you pitch this? Like I'm just maybe that's why Margot Robbie was in here. It's like, oh, I'm pretty, I'm smart. Like I can just pitch this to someone, they're going to say yes. Like, is that why? Like, I'm like, how do you pitch this to an executive? Yeah, this sounds great. Let's do it.
You might be on to something, man. I mean, I think you need like a producer who has a good reputation and everything that you can just be like, yo, can you pitch this? Because like, I don't think they'll let me do it. I have a vision.
I,
All I'm
I'm a
saying is
bit.
mud and penis.
A lot of naked, a lot of naked scenes in there. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm like,
I think
and
I've
that's
seen.
another thing too.
I know the end scene. It's probably a prosthetic for him.
No, it wasn't.
Really. Wow.
And you know that wasn't the original end. I think the original end was actually better. Like the original, it was supposed to end with him coming to dinner, being the only one in Saltburn. I mean, going to breakfast, and the guy Duncan, the butler, brings him a plate of very runny eggs, which is to call back to the beginning.
Yes.
And it was supposed to say like, "Oh, Duncan kind of knows what you did," and it's like, "I got you, bro. I see what you're doing." I thought that would have been a better segue to leave it open at the end, especially if you played it right. Like if he just looked at Duncan like, "Yo, what's about to be on?" or something. But yeah, like I don't know. I see that and I'm like, so you don't. This guy's clearly a psychopath, right? Like especially at the end of the movie, he did all that. He he had a whole family killed, right? He killed them, killed every single
Except for
family
the
member.
except for the dad.
I think though he might have had a hand in that. I don't know. I think they left it in the open air to say maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But like the whole family's dead, and he's literally dancing naked in their house, and he's like, "I got you." Like, what?
I mean, he just took her off life support. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's not. She was going to die
Bro, he
anyway.
did something to her, man. Come on, he did something to get her in that state. Come on, man. Cause she was young, like she didn't look like she was sick or nothing, and then all of a sudden she's in a wheelchair. It didn't look like she was older when she was in the wheelchairs. So he recently did something to get her in the wheelchair and took her off life support. He did something, bro. I don't know, but
That confession to her, though. Oof.
he's like, I just hated you, but I loved him. I'm like, what? You're a psychopath. You should be
Do
in
you think
jail.
he's going to get more roles because of this?
Oh yeah, yeah. Hollywood loves these kind of people. So hey, like because you can potentially have them do anything and they'll do it out of the art, so they'll do it. I mean, the guy improvised mud loving. You know, it wasn't in the script. He was like, "Yo, let me do this, yo. Just hit record and walk away."
So let's go into that real fast, right? I'm just curious. So when the crew gets back from whatever they were doing, when he was doing his own thing, and they see this, they're like, "What is this?"
I don't
Like,
know if the
what's your
crew
first
saw it.
response if you saw this?
So let's say I'm because it was a closed set, so I'm the editor. They give it to me, and they're like, "All right, here's the dailies for today. Check them out. See what you want to use." I'm watching. I'm like, I'm going onto my phone. I'm calling Emerald Fennel, the director, and I'm like, "Yo, you gotta come in. Like, I don't even know if I can put this. Nah, I can't tell you over the phone. You won't believe me. Come in here and see what Barry
I don't
did."
even think there's a category of that on Pornhub, dude. Like, it's like weird.
dude, like, I'd be like, "Yo, no, come. No, I can't send you the clip because
Why
we don't want
wasn't
this
this like
online."
NC-17? I'm curious. How was this R?
Yeah, like I don't know, bro. It's weird. Maybe it's because it was not as mainstream. Maybe it's because it was kind of indie. But
Because is that considered necro?
nah, because it's the ground, I guess. you know, he's not touching anything dead. It's just dirt. It's mud.
I don't know what's worse, that or the bathtub scene, which I feel like I'm visualizing right now, and I just want to throw up.
Oh, that bathtub is disgusting, especially because of the
Who
sound
thought of
and
that? I'm curious. Who thought of that bathtub scene?
that was in the script. I know that for sure. Oh my goodness,
Who
man!
wrote
That's
this?
Emerald Fennel, the director.
Oh, she did both.
Yes, she did both.
So
She
has she
did it
done
all.
anything else? I'm looking at her stuff right now.
I know her mainly for acting, but I know she does directing and writing too.
Oh, I know who she is.
Hmm. She's
What do
credited as
you what do
own.
you think on this? Like, um, oh, she was in The Crown. She played Camilla. Okay. So do you think she's going to get more opportunities now? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, she'll get more. This movie is nominated for Best Picture by the Critics' Choice Award, whatever that is.
What?
Yeah,
There's
it
like
has
how many
three.
movies can I think of that are better than this that came out last year?
Oh no, it won.
Oppenheimer.
It won the Best Picture by
What?
the Critics' Choice Award. Yeah, three wins. Critics' Choice Awards. Yeah.
Okay, that's all right. I want to
Um,
know what
uh,
people's opinions are because every person that talked to me about this before, like, oh, I saw it and they're like, it was different or interesting. I was like, well, can you unpack that? And they're like, no, because I don't know what to say. It's like,
it
what?
does not have good reviews on IMDb. I'll tell you that. It's,
Really?
yeah,
Oh, now I
people
got
are
to
like,
see
"What
this.
the hell?"
Dude, now I got to see this.
Oh snap! Not for the squeamish is the top review I see, and that's what I told somebody today. It depends on if you're squeamish if you'll watch this movie.
So there's a new Mr. and Mrs. Smith too with Donald Glover. What do you feel about that?
Um, look, Glover's a great actor, a great artist. Period. I just don't see him as an action guy. That's all. I mean, I'm taller than him. I mean, no offense. Just let me just say,
Really? He's that short?
I'm pretty sure you can be an action star and short, but he just doesn't look like he doesn't have that action hero look. He doesn't seem like an action hero. So like it's kind of odd to me. But I'm gonna check it out. I like the original movie. I'm gonna check it out. Maya Erskine, she's known from that show Pen 15. A comedic role, a kooky, wacky role, but she's doing more serious stuff lately. She was the voice of Mizu in Blue Eye Samurai, a show I recommend to everybody I know. It's a great show on Netflix. You should check it out. Great anime. But I'm gonna check it out. I can be wrong. You know, but I mean, I'm not really. I haven't seen anything about it. I haven't seen a trailer or anything. I just seen that he is starring in there with Maya Erskine. You know,
I think this is review right here for Saltburn. Excruciatingly difficult to get through with zero reward at the end. There is no reward.
no.
My takeaways is this, and then we're leaving it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll never see it again. I'll always remember it, and doing crazy stuff like that does not mean you're a good actor.
Thank you. But people like this will always get roles because they'll just be like, "Oh, they'll do anything." He had sex with mud.
Sorry, we spoiled it for everyone, but anyone who hasn't, we're curious what your
Let's be honest.
points
If you
are.
weren't people, once I tell people, and I keep it very vague. Once I tell people about this movie, they're like, "Nah, son." Nah, I'm good.
I like 365 Days better.
And I didn't like that either. So,
It wasn't as bad as this.
it was. They're kind of even for me.
But it wasn't disgusting.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But they both, for me, operate on shock value instead of having a good story.
Well, the sex scenes were shocking, kind of, but not really.
Come on, bro. Come on. It was a high budget porno. 365 days. Like,
but it was
on,
all
man.
simulated. Is that the crazy part of what?
It's a high budget porno.
Soft porn.
Come on. Whatever. It's still a high budget, porno. I forgot you can't say the P word on YouTube. But yeah, you're not allowed to say that. But
edit that.
That's what it is.
You just edit that. We don't need that. We don't need that. I don't know what the rules are for something like that.
Yeah, you can't say that. But yeah,
Nintendo, get us free stuff. How about that?
So it's safe to say that you don't recommend this movie, Saltburn.
Actually, I do. I recommend it because I want you to see it and see, like, okay. Just because if I don't recommend it, then people aren't going to see it, and it's just. I recommend because it's different and it's original and its own thing, but it's truly its own thing. It's in its own class of whatever it is. If it's suspense, thrilling, black comedy, whatever. What about you?
No, I don't. That's simple.
All right. Well, there we have it then.
Yeah, we have it, my friends. Now, don't take it by my word. Don't take it from Zach's word. As usual, watch it for yourself. Come to your own conclusion. Let us know what you think. In the meantime, be creative, my nomads. Peace.